there, behind us.
Oh, get out of here! What is going on, Guardians, and welcome back to another Destiny gameplay video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys gameplay from a build I've been using all weekend, just for the grins of it. You know, I haven't played Sunsinger much lately, so I decided, what the heck, I'm a little overdue to give this subclass some love, but I didn't want to just do the same old, so I decided to reach deep into the vault and pull out ye old Sunbreaker gauntlets. Yeah, those things actually still exist. They're actually in year 3, so I got myself a year 3 version. Ended up respecking my build for a 4-4-3 Sunsinger build using these here gauntlets. If you're not familiar with these gauntlets, I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if you're not, if you're relatively new to the game, if you came in year 2 or whatever. These things used to be highly coveted because back in year 1, solar grenades, they were actually pretty good. And on top of that, what people would do is they would use these solar grenades in PvE activities because you could force bosses would like to avoid the AoE effects of your grenades, so you could you know, raid bosses, aka Atheon. You just had to have one Sunsinger in your fire team, and a good Sunsinger could literally make Atheon jump off the map and kill himself. So these things, they used to be highly coveted, but since then they've really had no place in the game for the most part. I mean, nobody uses these things. If you do, you're like part of the 0.01%. Congratulations. So I whipped these things back out, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to try and have some fun with these solar grenades. And I did end up having a really, really good time, and I found it to be highly addicting to play this particular build in the Crucible, and specifically in the Trials of Osiris. So it was lots of fun, had lots of great kill streaks. I'm using Viking Funeral and Touch of Flame on my solar grenades because I want them to really have this lockdown effect. I want them to really punish players who push through them or get caught in them. For the way that I'm going to be specifically using them in Trials of Osiris, I'm going to show you lots of this build in Trials of Osiris in my Trials highlights that I'm going to post after this video, so stay tuned for that. The footage in this video is going to be all skirmish and 6v6, some control gameplay. So skirmish and control. I found that I liked it best in Trials. I had tons of fun in Trials with it. Then I liked it quite a bit in 6s. It was fun in 6s because you could lock down stuff, lots more players to get tagged by those grenades and whatnot. In skirmish, I didn't like it quite as much, but I still had fun with it nonetheless. But it was best in Trials, and then in 6s, and then least effective in skirmish. If you're interested in using this, that's what I would tell you. So these solar grenades, great for locking down choke points, for blocking off revives, for blocking heavy ammo crates. These gauntlets, what they do is they increase the duration of your solar grenades, so they last longer, and on top of that you get a second charge, so you get 2 of these grenades. So yeah, it was just a ton of fun. What I would do is I would throw the solar grenade, there's a lot of different ways you can use them, but I would throw them down on a revive. So if I was playing in Trials, I played a lot with a no-land sidearm this weekend. So a lot of times I would start with a pick with the no-land, and then as I'm trying to close the gap to get close to keep that revive down, a lot of times you don't get there in time when you get a pick with a sniper. You know, lots of guys using shotguns, it's the nature of it, and they'll move up on the bodies and kind of stand behind cover, and if you push up on them, you're likely going to push up into 2 overshielded opponents by the time you get there, one of which at least is going to have a shotgun ready to ruin your day. So what I would do is I'd get a pick from a distance with the no-land, and then I would just chuck one of those solar grenades from wherever I was right on top of the orb, and then I would close the gap. And what happens is they don't have enough time to get that revive up. That solar grenade with the extended duration will lock that revive down, and it'll really punish them if they try and go for that revive. Most of the time this weekend, I had a couple of instances where people would actually go for the revive. Most of the time they would just die. They would try and stand in the solar grenade and tank the damage while they get the revive, and almost every time they died before they could get the revive. Another player had quick res on. He was able to get the revive up, but as he's walking away from the revive, he had like a bee's wee of health, so he was a really easy kill. So he got punished for it nonetheless. So, but most players would just stand away from the revives. They wouldn't even try because that solar grenade kind of locked it down. So that was a great way of using the grenades in Trials of Osiris. I used it that way in Skirmish as well. Not quite as effective because it's not an elimination. But another thing I would do is I would throw it on the heavy box in Party Room in Trials this weekend on Twilight Gap. Chuck those solar grenades on the heavy box. I did it in Skirmish a couple of times as well. But it really deters players from going for that heavy. They kind of wait, and it gives you time to make a play on them before they can get that heavy pop. So another thing, and you see it right here in that gameplay right there, shotgun rushers. This is really great against them, these solar grenades, because what I would do is so many shotgun rushers will bum rush through choke points and stuff, and they're counting on the fact that most things aren't going to be able to do enough damage to them before they get to you and kill you with a shotgun. So what I would do is I would throw the solar grenade in the choke point or in front of the shotgun rushers and make them run through it, even if they just get touched by it briefly and it doesn't do a lot of damage. What it's going to do is it's going to cause them to take additional damage when you have Viking Funeral. You see this guy and others, they run through the solar grenade, they get tagged by it, and then Viking Funeral makes it so that while they're burning, they're going to take additional damage. So it ups the damage output of my sidearm. So it's really easy to chuck that solar grenade in front of them, get them tagged with Viking Funeral, and then gun them down with my sidearm, doing additional damage to them. They were slightly weaker, and made for making short work of these shotgun rushers. So that was a really fun way for me to use these grenades, and probably the most effective way that I used them over the course of the weekend. Now I'm using Radiant Skin, not self-res, not even in Trials. I didn't use self-res in Trials. I don't like self-res in Trials. I feel like it's a waste of a super half the time. It just gets shut down anyways. Sometimes it can be effective, but for the most part I find Radiant Skin to be a lot more effective. What I would do is a lot of times I would wait till I was last man standing. And then since the super is pretty squishy, honestly, in this meta, you're just going to get shotgunned out of it, usually against good players. So what I would do is I would keep my distance, and then I would chuck all these, I just rain down solar grenades, and just completely carpet the area where I needed to get a revive, so that people would move off of the revives, and then I can move in and get the revives, and sort of set the score straight again. So you'll see a lot of that in the Trials highlights that I'm gonna post. But hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay. I really enjoyed playing this build, and I would encourage you to do some experimentation, mix it up. This I just looked at the DTR report for this weekend, and it's literally 1 out of every 3 kills for special weapons were matadors. This is no surprise there. And the second special weapon in that lineup was the Party Crashers. It's pretty, I feel like it's really uninventive right now, and I'm not salty about it, but it's just so bland. So I'd like to spice things up. Hopefully you do too. Hopefully you enjoyed the gameplay and the build, and hopefully you'll enjoy the Trials highlights I'm going to post after this. So take it easy, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I'll catch you in the Crucible.